Good morning, everyone. Thanks very much for coming. This morning we wanted to bring your attention to a cold case file that we've been working on for quite some time. Back in the evening of May 16, 1997, James Milliken, who was 23 years old at the time, was socializing at the Beverly Crest Tavern with some friends of his in the area of 118th Avenue and 34th Street in Edmonton. At approximately 1:30 a.m., so it would be now May 17th, he and his friends went across the street. We're in the Abbotsfield Mall parking lot at 118th Avenue and 34th Street, where they encountered another group of males, and an altercation occurred at that time. There was a big fight between the two groups of males, and as a result of that fight, Mr. Milliken was stabbed one time in the chest. He was rushed to hospital where he died from his injuries. At the time of this investigation, the original investigators had, of course, interviewed a lot of people, and there was an arrest made the following, or that same day actually. An individual was charged and taken to court. And during the preliminary hearing into that original charge of a second-degree murder, another individual testified on the stand that they committed the murder. So there were a lot of issues with this file. As a result of that confession, the Crown had to stay the charges against the first individual, and further investigations had to take place. In spring of last year, new information came to light, and this new information was extremely helpful in this case. It led the investigators to basically reopen the case, start looking at it again, and following up based on the information they had received. Now that information is, of course, before the court, so I'm not going to talk about that, but suffice to say there were a lot of issues that had to be looked at first in this case. Obviously the issue of the stay of proceedings that was put in, the issue of the false confession during the preliminary hearing. So there was a lot of consultation done with the Crown over the past year, and also firming up the information that was provided last spring. As a result of that, our historical homicide unit detectives were able to issue a warrant for the arrest of Darren Young, who was 19 years old at the time of this offense and now 37 years old. The warrant was issued on Wednesday this week, March the 11th, and we had information that Mr. Young was in the Medicine Hat area at the time. We have been in contact with Medicine Hat Police over the past few weeks, and we want to thank them for all their assistance. Medicine Hat Police were able to locate this individual, who was very cooperative. There's been no issues with Mr. Young, and he was taken into custody last night in Medicine Hat. I just want to read a short statement that the family provided us and asked us to read out. They are not interested in speaking to the media themselves, but asked us to read this statement. The arrest and laying of second-degree murder charges against the person police believe killed our brother James Milliken comes as a great relief and will hopefully provide us answers to questions we have. Questions that have haunted us for years, says James Milliken's family. The arrest will not help us deal with our grief. There is no justice. Jimmy is dead, but perhaps some closure can now begin. We are forever grateful for the 23 years that we had with him, and he will remain loved and always remembered. Not for the way he died, but for the way he lived, with laughter and love for his children, his family, and his friends. We would like to thank the Edmonton Police Service for their kindness while dealing with us and for their determination, even after 17 years, to catch the person responsible for Jimmy's death.